Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is when you're listening to this. It's another episode of Four Doors and GT4s. I am Stu, joined as always by Mr. Aaron Pfeiffer, who's fresh off just another weekend of fun at Road America. Right? You were at SRO this weekend, but I guess we'll be focusing more on the IMSA side of things. But how was your weekend in Road America? The most recent one.
It was eventful. Yeah, we had a race rained out, unfortunately, where we were starting third overall in, so we'll get to do that at Barber. And then race two was kind of a wild one, a fight for our life. And then some guys in the pro class decided to wreck each other for no reason and ruined our chance to most likely have at least a second place. But all in all, a good weekend. I finally got to spend time in Elkhart Lake. It's the first time I'd actually gone to the town of Elkhart Lake. We actually were staying.
Really?
We had a house that was in downtown. Basically, I could walk to Seepkins and walk to the water and stuff. So that was cool to get to experience a little more low key weekend in Elkhart Lake compared to the IMSA one. So I did enjoy finally getting to actually go to the town and enjoy the town a little bit. But yeah, that's enough Wisconsin for me for the year. I'll see you next year, Road America. That was plenty.
Yeah, that's two trips there in what, like basically 2.5 weeks, right? You didn't have you only had the one weekend off between it. Is that right?
And some of my coworkers for ACI had been there 3 weeks straight because in between IMSA for Carrera Cup and SRO, they did Porsche Sprint Cup Challenge, and so they were there for 3 weeks straight, and they knew of the four restaurants in downtown Elkhart, they knew the staff at all four of them by the time they were done. So yeah.
Oh, did you eat at the barbecue place? There's a barbecue place kind of on the way to the track, right when you're rolling into town.
No, I ate at a couple places
Okay.
downtown, but I don't remember eating barbecue now. But a
Yeah,
very cool little town.
it is, and it's I've only seen what it's like on the IMSA weekend, of course, but it is really cool how the entire region really embraces, when there's an event going on at the track. You go into Elkhart Lake, and there's you got the checkered flag sort of racing decor out there. I guess you guys had a parade that went through the middle of town as well. If I'm not mistaken, did I see videos of that?
There, there was a parade, but I'm always late to getting to things, so I didn't
Yeah,
get to enjoy all the stuff. But yeah.
that's true. That's true. Well, we won't talk too much about just this past weekend at in Elkhart Lake. We're going to focus a little bit on the IMSA weekend in Elkhart Lake to kick things off, and then later on we'll dive into VIR, which is, we're in that stretch of the summer where it's like boom race weekend, and then you get a little bit of time off, but it's a quick turnaround to the next weekend. So focusing in on the Road America weekend, kind of a fan favorite. I think many people would say that. Just talked about how the entire region really embraces the event. There's always a great crowd out at Road America. But the racing that we saw, in the top two series, the WeatherTech Championship, and we'll focus on the Michelin Pilot Challenge for the majority of this show, but it was a little bit rough and tumble out there. So you guys had quite an eventful weekend. How about you take us through sort of the lead up to the race weekend and what you guys experienced at Road America?
Yeah, the lead up was definitely interesting, right? So, for the team in large, obviously a lot of stuff was going on. We had the boys and girls at the shop had to completely rebuild the 33 car basically from the CTMP crash. We also welcomed in another car, the 18 car. So you had a whole nother crew coming together, basically all new guys with a couple of long timers spread in on the team there. And so, yeah, definitely different. If you guys have ever seen our paddock setup, it's still the same. We just slammed one more car in there. So it was a little tight under the tent. But yeah, so all in all those things considered, I thought we still came very prepared and, for us, I felt like we rolled off the truck in a really solid position. I felt like the car was good from FP1. Obviously, some eventful stuff even happening in the FPs. I know they're not televised or anything like that. So if you're not at the track, you don't really know. But obviously, the big story in TCR going into the weekend was the 99 car switching to the
Yeah.
Cupra, and they would crash the car 2 turns into their first out lap on FP1 and miss the rest of the session. So already some interesting stuff happening there in practice, and putting Victor and those guys on the back foot. I mean, just man, breaking a brand new car is that's a real kick in the
That
privates. So
that
yeah,
car got pretty broken in as the weekend went on too, didn't it?
yes, the
Not
car
in the
would
good way
yeah
though.
the car would go on some more adventures, and they would buy some more parts for it, as we'll talk about later. So yeah, but for us, I thought the Friday went pretty well. It was a very long day. Shout out to IMSA for that crazy schedule that they gave us. So we would practice. We would be the first car on track and the last car on track. So we'd practice at 8 a.m., practice in the middle, and then qualify at the end of the day, and then race the next day. So a very busy, very long Friday for us. Looking at the pace and looking at who we were up against, the goal for that I set for Preston was to qualify P7. He qualified P8. Only one car that I thought he'd be in front of jumped him. So we were really pretty pleased with that qualifying effort. Preston really stringing some really nice runs of qualifying together that we're all super pleased with. He improved by over a second over his last year's qualifying lap there. So we go into Saturday feeling pretty good. The Hyundai's obviously were quick. We were on pole, I believe, right? Yeah, and got to see it's been a long 3 weeks.
It has.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Bryson
No,
or
it was
Mark put it on pole.
the Honda Montreal Motorsport Group
Okay,
got
see,
pole. Yep.
never mind. I'm lying. We weren't fast. Yeah. So, okay, yes. So Honda's on pole, and then we were second and third, or whatever it was.
Nope, you were third and fourth.
Okay.
There was the Precision Racing LA Audi there.
Oh yes, Neto. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
forgot.
Neto had
Oh,
a second place qualifying, and then it was the 33 and the 98.
okay. There you go. I have some things to talk about with Neto when we get to the race.
Ooh,
So, yes. So yeah, obviously the Honda's fast. Honda's been fast, right? No shock.
yep.
But we're pretty quick as well, and so didn't feel like we had the straight line speed that the Honda and the Audi had shown some really good pace as well in the sessions, especially actually the 31 car would be showing really good pace as well, as you would see play out in the race. So yeah, going into Saturday, we feel pretty good. And then Saturday comes, and man, before we talk about the race, just Road America delivers the crowds, man.
Yeah.
Saturday was so jam packed. It was awesome.
You always love to see that, and I remember the grid walk last year, and it kind of gave off like the similar sort of packed feeling, that packed atmosphere that you get at the Rolex, where there's a huge crowd that's there. Everybody wants to go on pit lane and check out all the cars, and yeah, good to hear that it delivered again. Seeing the videos of people kicking around there, even this past weekend with SRO. It's definitely an area of the country that they're going to be very pleased come next. They're going to be very pleased come next year, and you wonder how big the crowd is going to be for that 6-hour race.
Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised with the SRO crowd as well, especially
Yeah.
Saturday, considering it literally looked like it was going to turn black in the middle of the day, which it did twice with storms, and still a nice crowd there. So yeah, when we were leaving the track Saturday night, the amount of I mean, you've been there, Stu. The amount of people camping at Road America
Yeah.
is just crazy. Even hundreds of feet away from the track, over there by the turn one entrance and the turn
Hmm.
um, three entrances. There's tents all the way out to the fence there. And I mean, we were leaving well after the on track action's done, and we were sitting in traffic to leave. So yeah, it was an awesome crowd. Road America deserves its 6 hours that it's getting next year, and I'm sure it's going to be even crazier.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. But take us into take us into the weekend. Of course, you're seeing all those crazy crowds. You're having to manage this interesting schedule as the dog has joined me. And you didn't have I don't recall there being the weather like you had this past weekend at Road America. But when you're at Road America, there's always that question mark around weather, right? So you're trying to balance all of that. Yeah, bring us into qualifying and into race day.
Yeah, qualifying, we would go out really late in the day, and the track was pretty quick, honestly. And then the weather was surprisingly like just I wore a jacket Saturday or Friday morning to
Really,
the track. That's yeah.
that's
I
wild.
all I had was my rain jacket, but I had to put it on. I was like, wow, it actually is almost cool outside. So yeah, the weather was phenomenal for the IMSA weekends. Sunny and mild and just exactly almost perfect day kind of weather. So yeah, track conditions weren't really a concern. We talk about repaves, right? And we've seen
Yep.
Laguna go so aggressively back to where it used to be. Really don't have that with Road America, right? We really weren't having DEG issues like we've been having at CTMP or anything like that. So yeah, you just kind of go in thinking, okay, we're going to have your typical Road America race here. You're probably going to have one big wreck, one yellow flag, and the little did we know that we would get to see the safety car put on the show Saturday.
Yeah, it was a rough race to watch. I was telling you before we went live. I didn't get to watch the race live when it happened, but watching the replay, and it's a 2 hour race. You think, okay, I'm going to sit down for the next 2 hours and be able to really take in this race. But really, when it all boiled down to it, it was about 45, 50 minutes of actual racing action, which always sucks. We've had a number of these races. It feels like now this year where the safety car plays a bigger role than it should in the race. And it wasn't. I mean, we're not debating on whether these accidents were safety car worthy or not. There were some huge hits
For sure.
over the course of this race. A couple of very big ones. So yeah, unfortunate to see that be such a big factor. And it really started pretty well right off the bat in
Second
the
turn, yeah.
TCR race. Yeah, you were 8 minutes into the race before you got the first full course yellow that was thrown. So from the spot that you're watching this from, you're seeing these short 8 minute, basically, actually it's 2 minutes into
I
the
was
race,
about to say
the first
it's
full course
yeah,
yellow.
it was the first lap. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So from you being atop the pit box, what's going through your mind strategy wise when we're going green and then yellow, green, yellow? What's going through your mind in that moment?
Well, I had known it was going to be really tight on fuel for some of the TCR cars, which is not normally what you see. So I mean, some of our competitors kind of openly saying that it was going to be tight on fuel, so it wasn't a big secret. So I thought it was playing into the hands of everybody to come back to a one-stop race. The first wreck happens there in turn 3, which is turn 2. The GS cars, I think we made it around for the lap before they threw the yellow. Okay, that's a short yellow, right
Yep.
around, wait for them to clean up the cars, right? And then you go back to racing. I think we got one lap in, and then you have the 98 and the 99 have their incident, a pretty big incident for the Cupra.
Hmm.
And at that point, okay, you've got two yellows in a row. So now you've got now you're going to have a standard yellow procedure. So now then you start playing some strategy, right? Because now you're going to see some people go different ways, and that's the strategy would kind of split there and never return to everybody being on the same page. At the rest of the race, you'd see 3, 4 different strategies break out just in TCR.
Yeah, and it wasn't just, strategies that were throwing themselves in here. I mean, you mentioned, well, I mean, we've talked a little bit about some of the incidents, but we also have penalties that are being thrown around in here as well. Whether it was on the GS side, on the TCR side, there were a number of penalties being thrown around. And I guess when you have so many, you have green flag followed by a yellow flag very shortly after, it really minimizes the effect of some of those penalties, but still a lot
Well,
of track position lost.
it makes you think about, the stop plus 60 penalty, right? Because if that penalty is intended to put somebody a lap down,
Yeah.
which you would think it is, right? Because they're
Yep.
supposed to pay the price for something that IMSA finds egregious, because that's basically the biggest penalty they'll give you for an on-track incident.
Yep.
Maybe at a track like Road America and a track like Sebring, that penalty needs to be adjusted for time, right? Because we saw in both Pilot and WeatherTech, people have stop plus 60s, and a yellow flag put them right back into the race, and it ended up being not the severity that I think that they would want you to feel from that penalty, right?
Yeah.
Because
No, that's
that's
a really good point.
supposed to be the biggest hammer they can drop in the
Yeah.
race for you messing up on track. So yeah, you would see, I think, 2 different stop plus 60s in the Pilot Challenge race, and
Yeah.
those cars will get to catch back up from the yellow.
We
But
may have even saw more than that because there was Windward that got one, and then was there the one of the Hyundais that got one as well?
yeah,
Was
the
that,
98
yeah, for
got
the
one
Cooper incident, right?
for the Cooper, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so when we go yellow there, my car and a lot of the cars actually go for the short fill in that situation, right? I think 4 cars didn't take the short fill there, and so the rest of us, obviously it gives you some room to play with later on in the race. And if you're in near the back of the pack, it's kind of like a no-brainer to take that one. We were in the middle of the pack, but to us, track position wasn't as big of a deal as having the potential for a shorter stop at the end of the race.
Mhm.
And then I think we would go on a somewhat. I need to pull up the flag analysis because I
No, it
think we
was,
would go on a somewhat of a green flag run, or am I lying?
yeah, you had a nice long 30-minute green flag run there.
There
Oh,
you
no,
go.
wait, sorry. No, you didn't. It
Okay.
was it was oh boy. Flag time, 10 minutes. 10-minute
Okay.
green flag run after
And
that.
I don't even remember what that wreck was now. There were so many of them.
Was
I,
it the
I
big
I
one
can't
with the
remember which
Ford?
one that one is. The third one.
Was the
No,
third one maybe the wreck? No,
that's
was that with the
the
last?
last one.
Yeah. So I yeah,
Anyway,
it
that's a
was.
short that's a short yellow again. But then the strategy broke differently even more after that, because after that short yellow, some cars stopped and filled as soon as it went green, which I believe it went green with an hour and 7 minutes left to go. That doesn't get you to the end, so you're really
Yep.
banking on yellows there, right? Then we would have one more yellow. Um, Again, I'm forgetting which crash it was. Um,
Yeah, we
you
had
know
we
what?
had
We
a
should have had
we
one
had a
more
full
yellow.
course yellow come out at the 59-minute mark. And that
Yeah, yeah.
was that was the
So
one that came out right around
that
halfway.
that one stung because we were probably a lap away from boxing there, and if we get that done, then us and a couple other cars were really in the catbird seat. So that really messed everything up if you're playing the strategy we were playing. And so that was another standard yellow, and basically everyone's on the same page at that point, right? So everybody came in filled, and those cars that had filled right before that, on that hour and 7 minute run left to the green, they had a short fill and jumped everybody else in the pit lane, right?
Yep.
So before that, though, we would have been running before in some of this mix, right? We were running in eighth, I believe, and we were going into turn 12. And if you recall, we were talking about penalties. One of the penalties
Yep.
had been given to the 7 car for something on pit lane, right? A tire left unattended or something like that.
Yep.
The 7 car was kind enough to use us as their brake into turn 12 and quite frankly plowed into us. And if they didn't manage to hit us perfectly wheel to wheel, most likely would have knocked us out of the race.
Yeah.
And I've seen in-car video of cars behind us, and the 7 car is on 2 wheels. That's how hard it hit us into Canada corner. So we would fall back to last once Preston got going again from that situation. So that's the first time we were fighting back from last at that point. So just to give some context of what's going on in our race. Then
Lots of
fast
chaos.
fast forward to Denny's in the car now. We're just got done with that 4th yellow, and I told you that
Yep.
everybody is on the same fuel to make it to the end, right?
Yeah, you
And
come in, you
Denny's
get your driver. Pretty well, everybody has their driver changed done at this point, and it's
everybody's
you
got
got the
driver
closing
change,
drivers
everybody's
into the end.
got tires, everybody's got fuel at the end. And we had jumped some people again, and we're 7th or 8th. And Denny goes to press the gas pedal out of 14, and the car goes rubber. And then we get hit in the back by our sister
Yep.
car, the 18 car, and then Denny would get the car to come back on. And then throughout the lap, he's struggling. There's an issue with the car. We come into the box. It's a long lap to have an issue with the car, right? We come into the box and we're dead last of the cars running again. And luckily, very, very heads up, thinking on his feet by Jake, one of our mechanics. He remedies the situation in like 15 seconds. He knew exactly what
Yeah.
it was. He
They
gets in
showed
there,
that on
fixes
the
it.
broadcast, and it was just
Mhm.
like open the door,
Yep.
and then the cars just right back out.
Yeah, so we would go back out, and then you're like, "Well, crap," at that point, we're feeling just about as bummed out as we can, right? Because the 2 cars were fighting in the championship. I believe we're P3 and P4 at the time, and we are in last, and we're 3/4 of a lap behind. But luckily, we would get one more yellow and get to stack it back up. Now, so much is happening in this race. I'm forgetting that on that restart as well, the 89 and the 37 were leading, the 2 leading cars. Those 2 cars would have contact, and maybe another car also has contact in there as well. And those
Yep.
2 would get knocked out. That actually would have been another yellow flag, but both of them were heads up enough to make it to an orange overlap. But that stunk for them. That was, race ruin for them. I'm sure that's the 37's first led lap of the year when it came to the green flag and led the lap there.
Yeah, they
So
played that strategy called perfect on that.
yeah, a lot of chaos happening, and that's just in TCR, right? And then what would catch us up would be the big wreck at the end that you were talking about between 3 and 5, where you'd have the GS cars come together. And pardon me, I've forgotten who it is that came together now. But it
Billy
was
Johnson got into one of the one of the BMWs who took out one of the other Mustangs, and
yeah.
yeah, like
So
the orange and blue, I think, kind of Mustang went into the wall very hard.
yeah, so that's a big one, and
Yep.
that would be a pretty long cleanup. I'm looking here. 13 and a half minutes to clean that one up. We would obviously get to catch back up to the pack. And I believe there are 11 cars left in TCR at that point, and we're sitting in 11th, and we're just kind of like, okay, we got one more breath of life. We'd been last in this race twice at that point, right?
Yep.
And so for us, it goes green, and we're like, hey, the guys we're chasing, they're in 3rd and 4th. We got to salvage something out of today. Yeah, 2 Mustangs made a BMW sandwich. There you go. So, uh, and then it was just kind of, let Denny do his thing, right? So luckily, we got the best driver in TCR, and he drove it through the pack. We managed to pass all those cars back behind us. We managed to get our karma and pass Eversley in the 7 car and get past them, which was one of the reasons we'd been on the back foot the first place. And then we would run down Harry, obviously our sister car that we were fighting for the championship with, and then we would have a battle for the last 4 laps with him, and we wouldn't get past him. You'd see the MMG car, who had honestly had crazy pace, right? And I fully expected them to, even though they restarted in fourth, I think, I fully honestly expected them to jump back to the lead because they had the purple lap by like over a second.
Mhm.
But they would not, and they would end up finishing the day third. So, your three championship leaders, third, fourth, fifth, right there, and it would be a win for our sister car with Mark and Bryson, which is awesome for them. A great way to bounce back from obviously a very tough CTMP. And then Speed Syndicate, I thought that was really awesome to see those guys who've had just terrible luck with the Audi have the Audi last for 2 hours, and they showed that they were very quick in it, right? And they had a very good race
Yep.
and a nice little fight with Carl the last couple laps to hold him off and keep the second and the first podium for that team.
Yeah, there was a tenth and a half was the difference between second and third there, that Speed Syndicate Audi and the Montreal Motorsport Group Honda. So was a really good run up to the finish line there. Really good battle, as you mentioned, between them the last couple laps, and it was, at least, if there's the one positive thing to take away from Road America, like there was a lot of chaos that happened, but there was that good final stint of racing here in this one. The GS battles were solid as well towards the end of it. A little bit of there was a little bit of gamesmanship, I suppose you could call it, with the Mustangs. There was the Mustang that got that
Man,
penalized, holding up the BMWs a little bit before coming in and making
well,
their
can we
penalty.
talk about race control throwing that yellow, but allowing the Mustang to get to pit lane and nobody else, which gave them the upper hand on strategy. And great
Oh,
job by McCumbee McAleer. But that, you know, normally you're told by race control that they're either going to let everyone get one time past the pits or they're going to try to call it before everyone gets to the pits. And for some reason, there's a delay of a pretty good amount of time on a wreck that was pretty obvious that it was going to have to get picked up.
yep.
And they let one car that was the leader slip in and, have the advantage on everybody. And that would prove to be all that the Mustang needed to win the race. So yeah, that was a lot of interesting stuff happened in 2 hours. But before we go to GT4, just to put a bow on us, it's probably
Yep.
the happiest I've ever been to finish fifth. I will say that, right? I truly felt like we were back from the dead multiple times. When Preston was hit and we thought the car was damaged, you think, okay, well, season's over. And then again, when the car is in limp mode and driving around, and we're luckily that is such a long lap, right? Because we were able to stay on the lead lap. But again, you thought the season was over for us. So to come back and only lose 20 points to one of our competitors and 40 points to the other in the championship really felt like a huge win for us. And if we go on to win the championship, that will be the race you look back on and go, that's where we saved it, and we saved it as a team. I mean, Preston saved it with his driving and his recovery. Jake saved it with his heads up thinking on the pit lane, and then Dennis saved it with his great driving, which is what saves us all the time, right? So yeah, uh, I still chasing that first podium at Road America, but that was a fifth I would take when you're dead last twice in the race, especially in the back half of the race. You'll take a fifth at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now,
To wrap up,
do
oh,
you think the BMWs were quick as they were second,
eh,
third, fourth, and fifth? I mean, it looks like the
that's
BMW finally came alive this season, huh?
yeah, it sure did. BMW quick. There was a lot of Mustangs that were up there too. You had the Mustang that was taken out in that big crash. The Stephen Cameron Racing Mustang. That's the team that got they got they were on the
Oh,
bad end of
and
all of that.
the other wreck was the CSM car in the kink. That was the other
Yes,
one that
yes, that
I
was a
was
big wreck
forgetting.
too. Yeah, that was a
Yeah. And then the
that was
other
that.
one we weren't mentioning was the Ibiza Farm wreck in turn 12. Now that I'm
Yes,
looking at who's in last, I
yeah,
can remember what
you
happened.
remember. Yeah, you
Yeah.
remember. Oh, that's exactly what happened. Um, yeah, you also had the another Ford that was up there at the end, the core Ford Mustang. Of course, they ended up getting the penalty. That's why they finished down. But yeah, it very much was a Mustang versus BMW battle here. Yeah, you mentioned the BMWs finishing second, third, fourth, and fifth. After the 13 uh, McCumbee McAleer Racing Ford Mustang who took the win. It was the Carbon BMW in second, and the Autotechnic Racing BMW rounding things out there in third. The top three separated by just 1.2 seconds when they
Now,
crossed the line. So
remember the number 4 Carbon car at Watkins, and everybody hated it, and it was in the way and causing wrecks. And now it's obviously got a different driver, but yeah, out here getting podiums here.
Yep. It's things can turn around quick, can't they?
One thing I didn't talk about when I was talking about Friday is I see the 54 did not start, and
Yeah.
that was the big wreck in FP2. And I said leading into this race on the last episode that FPs are a mess at Road America sometimes, right? They had
Yep.
a big wreck in the kink and had to put the car in the truck after that. So big wreck in FP1 and FP2. That would cost them a chance to run, but I do see them on the entry list for VIR. So hopefully they were able to get that car fixed. But if we turn the page to the points championship and we were kept talking
Yeah.
about RS1, I'm looking at RS1 finishing 17th here, and now we're in a, like we said, it only takes one race for this to become a crazy points championship.
Yep, that it does indeed. That was perhaps the biggest story of the race, probably coming out on the GS side. RS1 for just the second time this season, finishing off the podium, and that's two races in a row that they've been off the podium. So that's a big streak for them after how they started the season. And McCumbee McAleer Racing taking full advantage of it, closing the points gap to just 90 points now to RS1. One of the Carbon BMWs is sitting there in third after they won at CTMP, and they backed it up. I think that's a fourth place finish at Road America. So another solid run for them. And then yeah, as you said, all of a sudden we have a championship battle here in the GS class that we didn't think we were going to have. So final three races of the season, that's going to be a really fun battle to watch. And then, of course, TCR has already been providing us with a really fun championship battle to keep an eye on here. The 98 Brian Herta Autosport Hyundai leads with 2,060 points, and then your 76 sister car is 20 points back. So for those of you may not remember the point standings off the top of your head, apart from essentially the top five, that's two positions on track that we're separated by. And if you're inside the top five, then it's one position basically. So
Yep.
it's tight in TCR. And then yeah, you can't rule out Montreal Motorsport Group and the Honda as well. They gained some
Oh, no, no,
points
no.
on sorry.
Yeah, I absolutely can't rule those guys out. I
Yeah,
mean, they're what,
they're 190.
four podiums in a row, two thirds, two
Yeah.
firsts. Yeah, they're definitely, just say they don't have mechanical issues in the first two rounds, they're either right with us or probably leading the championship. So yeah, I mean, other than their two mechanical issue races, they've had podiums every race. So yeah, five total podiums for them. So yeah, it's a tight battle. It's a tight three-way battle, and it's going to be fun. And I think you're going to see both championships come down to Petit Le Mans. So exciting stuff. For us at Brian Herta Autosport, it was a nice day, obviously, for the 33 to get a win. It's also a nice day in the Manufacturers Championship, which is important to
True.
us, with the Honda finishing behind the Audi. So, if we win at VIR, then we do secure the championship no matter what for Hyundai. And then there's a couple other ways that we could secure the championship this weekend at VIR. So we're excited to, unless something catastrophic happens, to put a bow on yet another manufacturers championship for Hyundai. And 4 different cars have contributed to that so far, including a car that's not even a Hyundai anymore. So you never know what you're going to get in a 10-month-long IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge season. You get some crazy stuff happening.
Yeah, I mean, you can change cars once, right? So I guess.
Can I tell you?
I
I know we're not an SRO podcast, but can I tell you a quick funny story from SRO this weekend?
Yeah,
There's a
of
certain
course.
team that their car rolled off the truck with
Oh yeah.
a major part not working, and so this is a GT4 team, and so they go, you know what? Can we borrow somebody's car? They borrow a different car of a different manufacturer, go run it in FP2, wad it up in the kink, their borrowed car from
Oh.
somebody else. Oopsies, sorry, no takebacks. And then their mechanics would be there all night long as their part finally showed up for their original car, and they would go back out there in their original car. So that was an interesting sequence of events in GT4 SRO this weekend.
Well, that's
And then, of
that's
course, you
not.
had the Mustang running the BMW and GT3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that was not the only instance of that. That's kind of wild. I yeah, didn't hear about that story. That wrecking a car. Why would if you're getting that part in the evening? Like, what are you really benefiting going out there and running that practice session in a different car? I guess like for the driver, they're getting some laps, but
Yeah, maybe they didn't know they were gonna get the part on time. I don't know, but it was, yeah, that's a
it's a big bill.
I bet that team will not be loaning out another car again to be helping somebody else out.
You're probably
But you
right.
did see, like, you did see in WeatherTech the great work between Lambo teams, right? With
Yep,
Faf and
Forte and Faf. Yep.
borrowing Forte's car. So yeah, it is a small world in the paddock, right? I mean, everybody on your team probably knows somebody on almost every other. Somehow, you got 1 degree of separation to almost every team
Yeah.
in your team, and especially within your manufacturer. So yeah, that was I thought that was cool to see. And even in SRO where you saw Turner loan the BMW to
Yeah.
1 lap to the Mustang guy so they could get
The
some
Mustang
championship.
sticker on the front of it too.
Yeah, yeah, boy, that Mustang, that was a vicious hit. We were watching that in the truck. That was a nasty hit. And shout out to the same guy who rescued me, Jake, in our race, is on Todd Coleman's McLaren, and he was working till 2 in the morning with those boys on the McLaren that were also in that wreck, and they got it out running for the next race. So he rescued 2 cars in 3 weekends at Road America, his home track. So shout
Sure
out to
he's
my boy.
ready to leave Road America for a little while too then.
He's ready to take a nap at this point. Yeah.
This is probably a good point to transition us away from Road America and to focus in on VIR. And we've one of the things we talked about it a lot last year, and we've kind of seen I guess a positive trend kind of bubble to the surface this year, and that we're seeing the entry list stay strong as the season goes on, especially in TCR. We are going to have 40 total entries on the grid this weekend at VIR, 24 GS entries to go along with 16 TCR entries. There's a bit of a change there. One of the GS notes, entry list notes anyways. We're going to have an all new lineup in the number 60 Core Motorsports Ford Mustang. You're going to have Sam Paley, who drove for McCumbee McAleer in one of the Mustangs earlier this season. He's going to be jumping in with Nick Persing in that Mustang GT4 for, I believe it's the remainder of the season, but it's at least for VIR. So a little bit of a different driver lineup there. Sam has been very strong in the Mustang, earlier this year and towards the end of last year. So it should be a strong entry there. And then the obvious one that sticks out at you on the TCR side is we have the return of the 2 Baker Racing cars. Yes, that's the 2 Baker Racing cars. You're going to have the 52 and the 56 that are back on the grid after, of course, the 52 was caught up in the big accident at CTMP. They couldn't get the car in time, all done up for Road America. So they're back this weekend at VIR and with a healthy 16 car TCR field. Aaron, I know you're always honing in on the entry list when it's released. Was there anything else that you noticed?
Give me a big miss by Stu. Give me Copeland Motorsports in a GT4 Supra. Well, that's a new entry, and that's the return of Copeland for the first time since the Veloster in TCR in, I don't know, 2021. First time we've seen Copeland in Pilot Challenge in a few years, and they're bringing a Supra. So that was the big one that stuck out to me. Nice to see those guys who have a very strong presence still running 20,000 GR Cup cars in SRO, and then of course they're still in MX5, aren't they?
I believe so. The name rings a bell.
Yeah, but so yeah, they're coming back, and then the only other one I said already was the 54 car. Looks to be coming back after what looked to be pretty substantial damage in the kink during practice. But 40 cars, that's awesome. 16 entries. If this holds true with Hart coming back for the last 2, then you should have 17, which is a huge points swing available until the last race of the year, which is something we lacked last year when we went into Road Atlanta with only 11 cars actually starting that race, and basically giving the 17 the championship before the race. Even all they had to do was take the green flag. So a bigger point swing, so that'll make both championships have crazy point swings for the rest of the season unless something crazy happens. So awesome field, 40 cars. You got 2 Cupras in there with Goo hopefully back for all the rest of the races, and of course the 99 car. As you said, great to see the Baker boys back with their 2 cars. They'll be hungry to get after it, just like all these guys have had some bad runs, right? You see the Rockwells back after they took a race off. So yeah.
Did you hear why the Goos missed CTMP? They were talking about it on the broadcast, or they had one of the Goos on.
What did the Goose say?
It was so when they got disqualified from Watkins Glen, because it was for
track width.
So they had to bring the car back to Cupra to get it fixed, or they had to do some work with Cupra, and they didn't have it back ready in time for CTMP. So it was good to see that they got that all taken care of, squared away, and back on the grid at Road America. You mentioned some of the the cars that were involved in big wrecks at Road America as well. We see the CSM Porsche, or wait, what was it, CSM or RS1 that got in the kink crash?
Yeah, CSM had the kink crash.
Yeah, so all three of them are back. Stephen Cameron Racing, that Mustang that was caught up in the big wreck as well, is back on the field, and back on the field. Crossing my different sports here. Well, I mean, they did spend a lot of time on the field of grass, I suppose. And then you had that beaten and battered Cupra for VGRT that's back as well. So good to see that we didn't have any. I mean, we still have to see them show up physically to the track at VIR. Sometimes the trucks just don't show up, but good to see that we have everybody still on the grid for this weekend. And what should be two good races or two good classes out there.
Yeah.
One of the other things I noticed as well, 57 Windward Racing. Daniel Morad isn't in the ride for isn't in
Again.
that Mercedes. Yeah, again.
Yeah.
After
I guess that's done, huh?
it's who knows? Who knows, right? Well, I guess kind of just
Unless
have to wait and see, but
unless he's been having clashes with I know he's doing like the SRO the Sprint Cup in Europe and stuff like that. I don't know if he's just
I
had
don't think
multiple
he's been
clashes or what.
I don't think he's been doing too much outside of IMSA this year because he's a new dad. So I
Oh,
think
okay.
this year he's taken it back a little bit, but hopefully we'll see him back on the grid at some point. Or did he get on? Oh no, I'm getting confused because he did get in with in the Korthoff competition Mercedes, and was going to be in with them in WeatherTech, and then that all kind of fell apart. So hopefully we'll see him
Yeah, and
on the grid. Always a driver, whether it's in GTD or GS that's always strong. So hopefully we'll see him back out on the grid. But I don't know if you took a look at the technical bulletin for the race. There's not really a reason for you to have to take a look at it. There's no changes in the TCR class, but there are some changes in the GS class and some weight changes that you see. The McLaren puts on 30 kilograms of weight. That's no joke. That's no joke. That's a
it's
hefty little weight gain in a
nearly
few
60
weeks.
pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, you got BMW that sheds a little bit despite their good run at Road America, and then the Aston Martin, the Vantage, also puts on 20 kilograms of weight. So the Ford Mustang did get a smaller air restrictor, so maybe sap a bit of the power, but this is, I mean, we don't usually see a ton of changes BOP wise. I feel like this is a pretty big swing for the GS class.
Yeah, but if you're looking in notes and you see the red, those are all
Mm-hmm.
engine map changes too for those cars.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
Aston Martin's
yeah.
changing a map, the BMW is changing a map, and so is the McLaren. So
So
some
you
of
think it
those
probably
things
has
might be
more to do with those map?
offsetting with weight. Well, yeah. I would think so. Yeah, if you see the map change, then they're probably like if you see the McLaren go plus 30, then I'm going to assume that they're getting a nicer map, a richer map,
Mm,
but they are giving them some weight to take some of the power off of that map. If I had to guess, yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, it
I mean, there's
could be GT3 where they just said, hey, let's just redo the BOP right now in the middle of the season.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, how much is an extra liter of fuel really going to get you in a GT4 car around VIR? What do you think that's good for? Probably not that much, eh?
Yeah, about yeah, I don't know, half a lap. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, it depends on if
I
you're
mean,
going up the hill or coming down the hill, right?
one capacity ball. Yeah, it's not it's just annoying to have to go in the fuel tank at that point to have to mess for 1 liter and 2 liters. Yeah.
good good stuff there. Good stuff there. And no no changes, it looks like, on the TCR side, so
Well,
pretty
I
much the
mean,
same.
but why would you, right? When you have three
Yeah.
manufacturers finish in the top three? I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, seems. I expected zero changes. I mean, when you see a podium like
Yep.
that, you don't expect to see a change.
Yep. Makes sense. So let's talk a little bit more about the track VIR. A little bit of a change from what we saw at Road America. Road America, lots of really long straightaways, followed by those really heavy braking zones. VIR still has some long straightaways, but also a fair number of sort of medium speed corners. It's a little bit tighter as well, not as wide of a track. So we're heading to VIR. What are the big changes that either you from a setup perspective or that your drivers are going to have to deal with heading into the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a much more flowing track, I would say. When you go to VIR, obviously you have a lot of rhythm sections going, especially through the S's. I mean, that's kind of one of those how much of a man are you kind of sections
Yeah.
of a racing track, right? Where, how much do you trust the aero of the car? How how confident are you in the package you have, and are you going to keep your foot in it in that section? That's definitely a trying section for AMs, especially, right? To trust the car that you can, your brain is telling you in that section that you want to lift.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it's you go up to Oak Tree, right? And there's always crashes in Oak Tree and Pilot. It seems like every year there's crashes. Somebody misses 11 and bangs into that wall that comes at you very quickly. And 12
Mhm.
is pretty unforgiving place, especially just a short little bit of grass there. Um, Normally VIR is 2,000 degrees outside, but actually it looks like we're going to have a pretty decent. I mean, for the summer in the South, it looks like we're gonna have some really nice weather. Actually, like mid 80s for the race weekend. So that's a sigh of relief because it's literally normally like 98 degrees at VIR weekend. So yeah, definitely a driver's track. I mean, for us, we obviously feel it's one of our strongest tracks. Preston's home track. He's done
Oh,
thousands
okay.
of thousands of laps there. He lives an hour away from VIR. Um, he just was in the Champ Car 24 last weekend, doing laps with our friends over at the Rockwells in a 99 Porsche Boxster in the middle of the night.
They're still
So
ripping those Porsches around, eh?
shout out to those guys. They swept the podium in Champ Car
Oh,
24,
man.
the biggest Champ Car race with three old Boxsters. Yeah. So yeah, obviously, yeah, Preston's super comfortable at that track. Nowhere we go that he has more laps on. He probably has more laps there than every other track combined. We feel it's a good track for Hyundai. Uh, Brian Hurt Auto Sports literally never not had a car on the podium, and whenever they've entered a race at VIR. So haven't won there since 2022 with Taylor and Michael, but obviously a strong track for us. We think we saw a great battle there last year between another Hyundai, the 99 car, and then we saw MMG get their first ever win there, and that awesome, probably best battle of the season last year between those two guys door banging and swapping spots for the lead for like 4 or 5 laps. So yeah, for us, we're excited about this one. We I have never had a good race there. Preston's never had a good IMSA race there. Denny's never had a good IMSA race there, but we definitely feel it's long overdue. Last year we had a really quick car and a wheel speed sensor would do us in very early in the race, and that would kind of just be more of the unraveling of us last year with that issue. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's not that close to me, but it's 4 hours from me, and luckily I have a lot of
Okay.
friends up there, a lot of customers from my day job for a lot of years up there, and I normally have some people come cheer us on, which is always nice. We'll have Preston's family there, and yeah, time to put on a show. Preston's wife has only ever seen us have terrible finishes at any race she ever comes to, so she thinks we suck if she doesn't watch TV. So hopefully we can get a podium out of it. But obviously, I mean, it's pretty much podium or bust the rest of the season, right? I mean, when you're fighting the way we are with these other two cars, we survived these last three races, right? With three fifth place finishes in a row, which certainly isn't the easiest thing to do in this championship. But if you want to win the championship, you can't average fifth. You got to average
Yep.
higher than that. We've never, as the 76 car, gone four races in a row without a podium since we've been at Brian Hurt Autosport. So we don't plan on changing that. So yeah, the plan is to go up there and try to win the damn thing, honestly, because we got no choice. I mean, the other two guys are unrelenting behind us, and like I said, it's going to be a fight down to the very end, and it's going to be who can pull it together here for these last three races. I mean, we're 2 months away from this championship being decided.
That's true. And yeah, you kind of mentioned the weather at VIR and how that can, the heat, everything like that, how that can be such a big factor in it. It doesn't look like it's going to be, you're going to have, knock on wood, but it doesn't look like you're in for any crazy weather. Looks like just not a not a cool summer day. It's still going to be 84 degrees or so on Saturday, but that's manageable, right? And hopefully no storms roll through. So yeah, a nice predictable, hopefully weather forecast for you, and kind of eliminate some of the variables if you can. But
I will say that we're long overdue for a rain race in IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. Now,
well,
I'm not calling for a lightning race, but we haven't had a rain race since Watkins 2022, yeah, or 2023. So yeah, like, I mean, I'm down for one at some point.
well,
It
what it's
is,
going to
it
match.
is wild.
It's going to be the next race that I go to. It's going to be at Indy, is where we're going to get the
Oh
we're
yeah,
going to get
probably.
the downpour. We've seen plenty of rain at Indy the past couple of years, so
That's true. We've been dry, but yeah, the Sunday is not dry. Yeah.
yep. Uh, at VIR, it's not just the Michelin Pilot Challenge that's going to be there, and maybe after I got to remember to recap the other winners from Road America too, because I forgot about that again. It's not just the Michelin Pilot Challenge at Road America. Of course, you have the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship there. They are just bringing the two GTD classes, so GTD and GTD Pro, will be on the grid. You're also going to have the VP Sports Car Challenge. There's going to be 5 LMP3s, 4 GSX cars.
Oh, this is terrible entry list. Yes, read off the next class. How many
Hey,
cars
but
do
they're
they
going to
have?
have 3 races this weekend. You can't gloss over the VP Sports Car Challenge with their 3 races this year. So,
And
uh,
we've gone down to 4 GT3 cars and 2 of them in Bronze Cup. That is, yikes! What has happened to the VP Sports Car Challenge? Come, Stu, this is like a train wreck
I
at this point.
but you look at like GTD Pro, the first year of GTD Pro, there was only five full season entries in that championship. So,
Okay.
it takes a couple of years to build everything up. I mean, we're
What happened
seeing
to
more.
AJ Muss in the Ferrari? He's been at every
Oh,
race this year.
the
Now
Ferraris
he,
kind of bailed on that a while ago, didn't they? Because
I
we had a
thought
few
I thought he
Ferraris
was
that
at.
started the year.
Well, yeah, we had those like Batman and Robin ones, but well, I swear AJ Muss has been at every single one of them until now. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe,
But
maybe.
yeah, yeah, 4 cars. I mean,
Yep.
yikes! I thought we'd see a lot bigger car coming in this championship this year.
Well, maybe with some of the changes that were made in another GT3 North American Championship, we might see more cars come over. I don't know. We might see random vandals come over in GTD Pro next year. That was
It's kind of
that.
the worst kept secret. Yeah, you're definitely going
Yeah.
to see those guys next year. Yeah, and that
So
is awesome. And Paul and what he does with his team is really great. And yeah, that's exciting. And I hope I hope you do see the multiple ones like they're talking about, because yeah,
yeah.
that's fun. That's a fun team. And Paul's always been super good to Preston and I. So yeah, that's exciting.
So there are going to be some races for the VP Sports Car Challenge. You can't forget about them. You're going to hear those LMP3s a lot this weekend. Three races. So
I mean, you won't hear
better
them that much because there's only 5 of them. But yes,
better.
You will hear them at some point.
Well, you'll also hear
Oh,
34 MX5 Cup cars. So is
wait,
that better?
before we leave LMP3, what's up with this new championship from IMSA where it runs on USAC weekends and it's 2-hour LMP3 races and you got to have a bronze? Like, what's going on there? That's just
Wait,
seems a
what?
little odd to me.
What
Oh,
series is
I
this?
thought you were Mr. IMSA News. Did you not see this?
No. Was
Okay, so next
is
year there's
this
going to
just
be
in the paddock news? Because I
no, no,
don't
no.
think
This
I
this
ever.
this this broke at Road America. You were busy. You were at a cat's bar mitzvah or something that weekend.
My
But
sister's wedding, but close enough. Yeah.
yeah, no. They announced that there's a new championship that will run under USAC weekends, and I think it's 4 2-hour races with LMP3 cars, and it also
Is it
can
the
use the leadup.
HSR? Is it just
No,
HSR?
no, HSR still has that championship too. So now IMSA's running like 3 different LMP3 championships next year, including.
Well,
But basically, they just brought back the prototype challenge
oh,
after they got rid of it because you got to
because
have
that
a
was a
driver's
sweeping
change.
success when it was,
We
towards the
had
end
more than
there.
5 cars. I never saw it have 5
Oh,
cars.
I don't know, but there were some weekends where,
Yeah,
I don't know. I remember sitting at CTMP and watching like maybe it was 6 LMP3s going around CTMP for like 4 hours. So, or however long those races were. They're pretty long races.
I know that IMSA holds the rights to LMP3. They should license those rights to SRO. Let SRO put LMP3s in their new 3-hour endurance races next year and have LMP3s and GT3s in their championship. I don't know, something like the LMP3 car is a good race car. It's so popular in
Yeah, it
Europe, and
sounds
it's
great.
just nothing burger over here right now.
Yeah, and that's probably not gonna. Is that gonna change much with the new LMP3 that's being launched?
I I
Probably
I
not,
I,
right?
I doubt it, right? I mean,
I've,
Ligier
I've,
does at least bring like trackside support to IMSA races. So I mean,
yeah.
there's one manufacturer that supports it. Duquesne, I don't think they have any trackside support here. So, and I don't even know who that third manufacturer is of LMP3 cars, to be honest. So yeah,
It's not Janetta, is it?
I
Yeah,
don't know, but
it might be. I don't
yeah,
remember.
yeah. Anyway, I mean, we were just if you go back and watch January when we were talking about the awesome entry list for VP Challenge at Daytona, and it's just gone downhill. So anyway,
Hey, but
you
you
can
know what? We talked about this last year with the Mission Pilot Challenge and the grid going down, and then look, we willed it into a good spot this year. So, when
yeah,
VP Sports Car Challenge has 10 cars in every class next year, you can thank us.
that's
You can
right.
thank us.
Yep. So a lot of bronze in the old GT4 class. Anyway, we'll move on from VP Sports Car Challenge. Watch them race 3 times this weekend, and they're making us practice at 6 p.m. because of these guys, and then we got to qualify at 8 in the morning the next day. So thanks for running another race, VP Challenge.
Well, you can thank the Canadian weather for that, I suppose. It all
But
comes back. Blame Canada. Blame
what
Canada.
about you? What about your true favorite series, which has a car sponsored by Little Caesars Pizza, which is going to be the best looking livery I can only imagine. The Mazda Wheeling Visit the Panama's MX5 Cup.
They shortened it down to just wheeling now.
Wheeling,
So
okay.
yeah, yeah. Although I still want to call it the Mazda Idemitsu MX5 Cup because it just rolled off the tongue so nicely. But yeah,
Idemitsu.
Idemitsu, and you had giant John Hindhoff saying that too. Was Yeah,
The
it was a good
Visit
sound.
Cayman Islands Porsche Carrera Cup, yes.
Yeah, well, and that's a championship that's changed names a bazillion times. It was Yeah,
And
I don't even know
will
what it is.
be changing tire manufacturers. Anyway,
Hmm. Yeah, it's a revolving door. To be fair, a lot of the support series have changed tire manufacturers over the past few years.
well,
Mazdas are now on Michelin. So,
you've not
um,
heard anybody say anything nice about the Yokohama tire. So anyway,
oh,
uh, I digress.
I know.
But anyway,
Hey, if you're a fan and you go to the track, just go up to the Yokohama truck. You will get a free tire at the end of the weekend, a
oh
used
yeah,
one. Don't you worry. Yeah, I've walked by a couple times. They're like, "You want a tire?" And I'm like,
they don't want to
"No,
take
no,
those
I have
things
to
back.
fly home." Like,
We're not recycling anything here. Yeah, that's
no,
nice. I like it.
no. Michelin has those things locked down though, because they do recycle them. So,
Yeah.
anyways, we're jumping off the tracks here pretty quick. 34 entries in the Wheelin Mazda MX-5 Cup. I have not studied the entry list here, I see a lot of the regular names, which you would expect. And all that I really care about is that we are going to have the Lightning McQueen car on the grid in addition to the Little Caesars car. So you got some good liveries to cheer for there. But
Who's winning
really,
that championship?
sorry, who's winning that
Who leads
championship?
that championship right now?
You're putting me on the spot here. That
You're Mr.
it should be
MX5.
Gresham Wagner, I think.
No, I don't.
Should be Gresham Wagner. When was their last race? It was
I thought it was
Watkins
Nathan. I thought Nathan Nichols was winning the championship.
They're at CTMP. Let's see. I got the championship points right here. It is Nathan Nicholson with 2,640 points ahead of Jeremy Fletcher, who was 2,470. Tyler Gonzalez with 2,440. Jared Thomas with 2,420. And then it is a huge gap down to fifth. So
nice little battle up top, though.
Yeah, nice little battle. They have 4 rounds left of the championship, so got a nice little mix of youth and experience in there as well. Yeah, should be some good battles there. They have this, and for people who are familiar with the IMSA points, they do have like the standard IMSA 350, 320, 300 point system. So even though you're looking at it's almost just on like 170 point gap between first and second right now, 4 rounds to go. It's the MX5 Cup to 35. What did I say? 34 entries on the grid. So yeah, that a bad day or a bad weekend can kill you in that championship. So,
yeah, I think that's the reason Tyler Gonzalez isn't dominating, right? Because he has a bunch of wins, but he's also got some DNS, I think.
Pretty bad results. Yep. And then you do also have another support series, the Mustang Challenge, who, the grid is the grid. We have 15 total entries. It's because they shipped all these Dark Horse R's over to Australia. Did you see? They sent the first shipment of those down for the championship down there. So
I did see that. Yeah. Golly, this is we talked about it when McLaren added the Trophy Cup, right?
Yep.
The SRO, that there's just so many single make choices to make right now. And maybe this is what we're seeing, that maybe it's just not sustainable to keep this many single make championships going with basically very similar price points and weekend options, right? Because you could go run the Lambo, the Porsche Carrera Cup, the Mustang Challenge, the McLaren Trophy, and they're pretty much all similar things, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, MX5 and GR Cup are kind of their own one step down drafting, kind of more cheaper cars to run. But yeah, I mean, part of me thinks maybe it's the fact that it's a Mustang, and that's not a knock on Mustang. It's just if you're paying this much money, and you're quite frankly, most of these guys, a wealthy guy that races for fun, like, do you want to tell your friends you race a Mustang, or do you want to tell your friends you race a Lamborghini for the same price, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of something you got to think about. That's kind of one of the factors that goes into it. You could say I race a Lamborghini, or I race a Porsche, or I race a McLaren, or I race a Mustang. Maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean,
what does the grid size look like in McLaren? Sorry to steamroll over you.
Oh, it's not. It's no better than this. It's probably same, like 15, 17 cars. But McLaren Trophy in Europe is garbage too. I mean, they only get like 8 or 9 cars. And they're crazy. They're stupid fast. They're just like the Lambo, where they're way too fast for. I mean, you got like a 600 horsepower car, where the GT4, which is the same car basically, is like 390. So like they're crazy fast. They were doing like 10 seconds a lap faster than we were in GT4s this weekend at Road America. The only thing they have that I think is kind of cool that differentiates them is, for some reason, they randomly have push to pass in that series.
What?
Yeah, there's a push to pass button with like a certain amount of push to pass you can use. So I think
Road to IndyCar, right? Road to IndyCar.
Yeah, but yeah. So I don't know. Kind of. I mean, obviously, Lambo and Porsche kind of stay strong, but really
Yeah.
probably Mustang and McLaren. A lot of these teams run both those championships, like Tech Sport as well. So
Don't forget about
yeah,
Ferrari Challenge too.
well, Ferrari Challenge is really just for rich guys to brag. Yes, but yeah, that's of course, yeah, that's another one. So yeah, I mean, a lot of single make options to choose from right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. It'd be interesting to see, how those continue to develop or don't continue to develop in the coming years. And, are we going to see a championship just come forward that you can race some of these cars in that are not just their single make championship? The Mustang Challenge does have that other USAC series as well that doesn't
Mhm.
have very many entries typically in it, but yeah, it could be something to watch for in the coming years as well. Well, I don't know if I have anything else to talk about ahead of VIR. I know, just looking at some of the comments here, we have Logan that's looking forward to the weekend. Second year of going to VIR. Make sure to stop by and bug Aaron while you're there.
It's 2 more
He
years since Stu's ever been to VIR.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I haven't been
Got
to
he's got
VIR.
no respect. There's a beautiful new Caesar's Palace in Danville, Virginia, just 15 minutes away, Stu. You can gamble and then go to the racetrack in gorgeous Danville, Virginia.
In gorgeous Danville, Virginia. You know what? I'll add that to my bucket list. How about that?
Fun
I'll
fact
add it.
about Danville, it for a long time had the highest per capita murder rate of any city in Virginia.
Well, now you're just you give me a reason to want to go to Danville, and now you're giving me reasons to not go
Well,
to
e
Danville. So
well, now they got the Caesar's Palace. They're changing it up there
that
now.
helps with the crime,
I don't
or
know. Maybe it's
remains
more
remains
organized now, right?
remains to be seen. Remains to be seen. We have a playground builder who's trying to build a race at Lime Rock Park for us, a Michelin Pilot Challenge headline race, which we know is not going to happen next year, but you continue to hear rumors that IMSA wants to
Look,
return.
I've said I'm a fan of more headliners for Pilot Challenge and the series going to more tracks, but that opinion does not hold water when it comes to Lime Rock. Nobody wants to go to Lime Rock. It's the worst place to go to. It's so in the middle of nowhere. There's nowhere to stay. Build 1,000 hotel rooms, then the teams will want to come back to Lime Rock. And let us drive on Sundays. And let us turn the cars on before 9 a.m.
Well, Aaron has a
Silly
Aaron has a large
that.
a large wish list now. Hey, but why are you complaining? You were just complaining that you had to practice. You have to practice at like 6 p.m. and then qualify at 8 a.m. So like, make up your mind here.
It's true. That's true.
Lime
Yeah,
Rock
but
sounds
then
like a dream.
that's true. You can only go from 9 to 5.
Nice working day at the track, right?
Yeah,
Nice
yeah,
working day at the
exactly. Dolly
track.
Parton's track.
Anyways, we're going off the rails here. I think this is a good point to wrap us up. Any parting words from you for VIR this weekend?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, as always, if you're coming to the track, yeah, do stop by and say hello. It's always nice to see everyone and fans of the podcast. It is still crazy to me that people recognize me from this, but that is cool. So thanks. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're hoping for a really good weekend. We got a lot of expectations for this one for ourselves on the 76 car, obviously. Our sister cars feel the same way. 33 obviously riding a high from a win. The 98 car, still been super consistent, just like we have. And then we all got to figure out a way to stop the 93 car, really, who's on the hottest of streaks in TCR right now. And then I think you're going to see a lot of the strong contenders come to play, right? I feel like you're going to see the 31 car continue to do well, as we knew with that driver lineup they would if they could get the car to behave with them. You're going to see the Baker guys come back. They're going to be hungry to get a good one after what was a heartbreaking one for them at CTMP. You're going to see the 99 car really hungry with that Cupra, trying to have a better, just forget the first weekend, right, and start over again and try to have a good weekend with that car, and then the precision car as well. So yeah, a lot of contenders out there. Let's w- Shockingly, all those contenders I talk about, we've still only had four winners this year, right? And
Yeah.
three of them are under the Brian Herta tent. Yeah, Brian Herta and MMG, the only two teams that have won so far this year. Still haven't seen an Audi win yet. So I think it's going to be a good battle. I think it's a great track for touring cars. Another track where we're really fast, especially in the slower parts of the track. Right there with the GT4s, really the straightaway is the only place they put the gap on us there. And I'm hoping for an awesome weekend and excited to kind of put a bow on the summer of racing here as we'll roll into Labor Day after that. And just like that, you're into the last 2 months of sports car racing for the year. So it
Yep.
comes up on you quick.
It comes up on you quick, and yeah, not long after that Labor Day weekend, we're going to be talking about going to Indy. So we'll be back to talk about VIR, preview Indy, and we'll do all that sometime between Labor Day and the Indy weekend. So once again, big thanks to everybody for tuning in once again tonight. If you're at the track this weekend, say hi to Aaron. Otherwise, we'll both be at the track at Indy. But hope everybody enjoys the race this weekend, and we'll see you on the other side.